I remember taking a photo of Glynys and Mary, miners' wives, back in 1985. It was like yesterday. I remember us talking and pressing the shutter and taking that picture. I actually used bounce flash, which I used to use a lot of flash, and I still do. The story behind it was I spent a lot of time during the miners' strike taking photographs for national newspapers, and I'd just been commissioned by Photo Gallery in Cardiff as part of their Valleys Project initiative. I went up to the Miners' Welfare Hall in Mardy, which is at the top of the Rhondda, and took photographs there of a meeting, and I met a gentleman who was a striking miner called Harry. We got chatting. He said, come back to my house and we'll have a cup of tea and you can meet my wife and son, which I did, and went back to Glynys, which is a small village on the side of the hillside near Ferndale in the Rhondda. We got talking, and Mary, his wife, said, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow in the kitchen, the miners' wives meeting. You're welcome to come and take photographs. And I always found that really quite incredible, that I was trusted, that I was welcome, and that's one of the amazing things I like about being a documentary photographer, is to be able to go into situations where maybe other people are not welcome at the end of the day. So I went and I took this photo of Glynys and Mary. I went back some 10 years ago to try and find some of the miners and their wives that I photographed during the miners' strike in 84-85, and I asked around in Mardy if they knew Mary Coombs, and an old lady said yes, she still lives in Glynys, the same house. And I said, I'll pop up and see how she is. So I went up, I remembered the street, I remembered the house, knocked on the door, Mary answered. I said, Mary, you won't remember me, but I took a picture of you some 30 years ago it was then. And she said, Roger, I do, of course I do. Come on in. I had a cup of tea, and she'd made this beautiful carrot cake, which I really enjoyed. And we were chatting, and I said, Mary, do you mind if I take a picture? And she said, to be honest, I've not been very well. I heard later that she'd passed away, unfortunately. I went to her funeral, and I saw a son there, which he was called James, and he was at the house during the time that I visited in 1985. Glynys, she lived in Glynys as well, and I went and knocked on her door, and it's not a sort of procedure I really like doing, just like cold calling, if you like. But she answered the door, she remembered me. Again, she made a lovely cup of coffee, we sat down and had a chat, and I said, do you mind if I take some pictures? Oh yeah, by all means, Roger. So the series that I did of portraits was shot on a Hasselblad 6x6. Then I asked if I could do some filming as well, if I could interview her, and she talked incredibly well about the miners' strike, and I recorded it on film. I will always remember this picture. It means so much to me. A sad occasion during the strike. There was a lot of suffering. There was a lot of good moments as well. And I'm very proud to have been able to capture miners and their wives and their families.